The Gospel of Gold by G.S. Lewis. The mirror image of his father faded, and in its place appeared several new images, one right after the other. First was a mountain of gold nuggets, stacked as high as his house, glimmering like the sun. Then it shifted to a shiny golden steelix, then a master ball, then a chest brimming with multicolored keystones and megastones. "Do you want riches?" asked the phoenix, in reference to the images. "Or do you want power?" The scene behind the glass changed again. Now it showed the boy, no longer a boy, but a man-grown version of himself, seated upon the champion throne. An unending line of fully evolved Pokemon paraded down the carpet past his chair. Some were of enormous size and strength, capable of leveling whole cities, like the flying serpentine Mega Gyarados. Some had powers that defied the very laws of physics, such as the time-affecting steel dragon Dialga. All were at his beck and command, answering to him and him alone. "Or," continued the phoenix, "do you desire fame and recognition?" She was testing him. As the boy looked upon ever more images of what could be, throngs of adoring people calling his name and begging to shake his hand, "This is meaningless." The more he watched, the emptier he felt. Whether the phoenix was showing him the riches and power and fame he might actually achieve one day, or whether she could grant them with a single wish, or whether she was only pretending to have the ability to give him such things, it made no difference. He felt the same hollowness that a hobbyist collector feels at the end of his life, when he finally realizes that all his hard-won trinkets have no worth, not in the big picture. "What does it profit me to gain the whole world but lose my soul?" he asked, finally responding to the inquiries of the phoenix. It was not his own answer, but something his father had once said to him when explaining power without need and fame without cause. The lesson had mostly been lost on him at the time, but now the words occurred to him again. Instantly, the mirror turned to smoke, and suddenly the phoenix was shining before him again, radiating warmth and life. "What do you wish?" she asked again. Her voice carried no hint of impatience, but remained benign and musical. "I don't know!" he cried, throwing his hands up in despair. "I just want my dad happy! Isn't that what all children want?" The eyes of the phoenix widened, as if in new recognition of the boy before her. "There you are!" she cried joyously, her golden eyes sparkling. "You almost had it right the first time, for indeed, all children crave the love of their fathers. The desire goes back to the first father, the father of all fathers, and the one I serve." The boy looked at her in wonder. "What? I don't understand." "Then I will give you the wisdom to." The phoenix spread her wings out to their full length, and the rainbow glittered from tip to tip. "Son of man, I shall become your guiding spirit to help you please your heavenly Father, even as you bring happiness to your earthly one. I am Spirit, and I name you Gold, for in course of time you will have a heart of gold." "Your name is Spirit?" the boy, Gold, asked breathlessly. "And my name is Gold?"
"You are not Gold."
Abruptly, the fire and warmth vanished. The phoenix issued a single cry of astonishment, which was cut off even as an instant darkness purged her from view. Gold no longer sensed her presence in the sudden coldness of the surrounding void. He felt an oppressive loneliness take him, but he was not alone at all. The voice that had spoken issued again, its tone hard and menacing, icy with fury.
Do not dare to presume that you will ever have a heart of gold!
It raged, sending chills through Gold's shoulders.
You who ride forth with intent to kidnap innocents from their homes. You who never gave a second thought to having them suffer and fight for your petty amusement. You, all of you. I am ever aware of your kind and all the vain efforts you make over the years to satisfy your insatiable ambitions.
Gold covered his ears and squeezed his eyes shut, shaking with new terror at the voice that focused such intense and personal hatred upon him. With dread, he realized that it was not the first time he had felt this entity. For just a moment, he was 4 years old again, looking at his reflection in the deep water and hearing the command to jump. "What do you want?" he whimpered in a small voice.
Your death!
Snapped the reply, with the razor edge of certainty.
For your course of action has already assured the death of an innocent creature. My future sight is absolute, and even Ho-oh dares not question it. Come and see.
Instantly, Gold's surroundings turned hazy, and he had the sensation that he was being dragged forcibly through water. A phantasmagoria of colors spun dazzlingly around him, but he blinked and shook his head, and his focus returned. He was standing on one side of a level rooftop, while on the other side stood a man with hair covering one side of his face. Between them were two creatures, dodging and weaving around each other, kicking up asphalt from the Pokeball logo etched into the battlefield. The airborne Pokemon was a bird of prey, exhibiting razor-sharp claws that sliced cruelly at its opponent. Gold recognized the animal on his side as none other than the fire-type starter Pokemon on his birthday cake. Cyndaquil, covered in bleeding cuts, still maintained the flaming quills on its back to signify its fighting spirit. Nevertheless, it was obvious how one-sided the battle had shaped out to be. "Still not willing to surrender?" called the man from the other side of the field. "Then don't complain about what happens next. Pidgeotto, Sky Drop!" Before Gold could even react, the enemy Pidgeotto scooped up his Cyndaquil in its hooked claws, seemingly unaffected by the flames jutting out of the small creature's back. The bird shot up into the sky with a screech, rising higher and higher until its features were unclear. Across the field, the man crossed his arms with resolute finality. "This is what happens when you take on a gym leader without evolving your Pokémon first. There is no place in the league for weakness. You, of all people, should have known that." And then, from high above the battlefield, Pidgeotto let go of its burden. Cyndaquil fell like a stone, squealing with fear, until its body thudded upon the pavement. The flames on its back immediately went out, fire and life extinguished in the same moment. In his mind, Gold struggled to look away, and he begged the voice to end this ghoulish vision. Just before things faded to black again, a judge with 2 flags stepped up to the unmoving body of Cyndaquil. With a tone devoid of empathy or pity, he announced that the dead Pokémon was unable to battle, and so the victory went to Faulkner of Violet City. Gold felt as if his heart had been stabbed by a knife, with a twist for good measure.
You will surely see this again,
spoke the voice, now sounding distant and fading.
If you follow through on your journey, Gold.
The mock use of his new name was still echoing in his ears when Gold opened his eyes. He was back in the van, surrounded by the sound of pouring rain, one cheek pressed painfully against the dappled window. He turned his head shakily to see both Marina and Junichi staring at him with anxious concern in their eyes. "Are you all right?" asked Junichi, pointing at his cheek. "That looks raw." Marina smiled worriedly. "You were pressed so hard against the glass for a second that I was about to shake you awake. Did you have a bad dream?" Gold looked at both of them with haunted eyes, snakes writhing in his stomach. "I can't do it," he croaked, cupping his head in his hands. "I'm going to abort my journey."